Welcome to InvictusHQ. This is on the Arc Primetime server. It's a heavily modded server. The rates are 8 times. 75% of this base was actually completed on 4 times. I'm flying around the outside here to give you a quick overview of what it looks from the outside. These fences around the perimeter are part of a mod called Jurassic Arc. They add the fences from Jurassic Park into the game. The electric portion of the fence on the outside does 1,000 damage per second, and it ignores armor, so players running into it just die instantly. Around the backside here you see the greenhouse, and then over the blue portion you see over there is part of the barracks, and the rest of the barracks is below it. Up here you have the command tower, and then the large structure on this end where the entrances are is the creature pen. Everyone calls the creature pen the dino pen, but of course that's incorrect because not all of the creatures in the game are dinosaurs. Coming in for a landing here. There's probably going to be some lag. The base is very large, and it would bring even the mightiest of machines to its knees. Here we have our 5 incubation chambers, which are guarded by some turrets. I'm not sure why those 2 up top are off. I really don't know. They're definitely powered, but these provide enough insulation. These incubation chambers, they can hatch any egg, and the one in the center actually has a generator above it instead of air conditioners, but the AOE from the air conditioners actually gives it more insulation in the center chamber with no ACs above it than the rest of the chambers, which I thought that was pretty funny. So I could completely hide the the generator for the chambers that way. So that's why I did it that way. Here's our token rhino. I'm making this video after the patch that adds the dire bear, but I haven't updated the server yet, and it's being wiped today anyway. So over here we have a few more dinos. We do have another base for egg-laying dinos. This is the main base where we keep all of our most valuable dinos. We have plenty of sabers. We use those, of course, for chitin farming, and hide too, to a lesser extent. The base is color-coded. So if you see on the outside over here, when we come in from the volcano or some other metal spawn or obsidian spawn, whenever we want to unload into the refinery, the metal, we come through here to unload, just to make it easier. There's also the option to go through the central chamber. So this central chamber here is called the nexus of the base. You can get to any room of the base, or any of the major rooms of the base from this room. The exceptions being the rooms that are off of the first floor of the warehouse, which are kind of secondary buildings. So the red side is the refinery, which we were just in. We'll go there first. You can access different floors from the refinery, and each floor has a way into the refinery, as you can see here. The design's not perfect because these 2 extra floors here, they don't really lead anywhere. They just lead back into the central chamber. The smelting capacity of the refinery is 64,000 metal ingots. Roughly. It's not quite because of gasoline, but The smelting capacity of the refining forges is 23,600 ingots at a time. So 59 slots of metal per refining forge. Or I'm sorry, 59 slots of metal per industrial forge, and then 1 stack of gasoline. And that's where that number comes from, 59 times 200 divided by 2, or just 59 times 100. So next, after the refinery, we're going to go into the barracks. The barracks is the green side. So the black side is the dyno pen. I'm sorry, the black side is the creature pen. See, I do it too. The red side is the refinery. The blue side is the warehouse. And so now back into the green part, which is the barracks. There are 11 rooms on the first and second floors of the barracks. Each has its own plumbing as well. Each room comes with a bed, a weapon, ammunition crate, a weapon locker, and its own safe as well. So everything in here except the bed is part of they're all part of a mod, and it's called the Storage Plus mod. Every room in here is identical, and then at the end down here, there's a way to get into the warehouse, but we'll go there after we finish the tour of the barracks. So now we're in the second level of the barracks. Same deal. The only difference between the first and second level is the medium safe instead of a small safe. There are again the same amount of rooms. There are 11 rooms. And at the end down here, there's another entrance into the warehouse. All of these elevators in this room are part of a mod that you can adjust the speed of them. You can also toggle elevator music, which I'll show very shortly. The last level, this room was the most recently added. I haven't painted the door yet. The base was always under construction. When I got done with one major project, I would just move on to another one. But this is the admin only level of the barracks, and that pipe isn't supposed to be there. Since it is the admin only level of the barracks, all the doors leading to it are admin access only. There are 6 rooms. Each one is already reserved. It's already taken by someone on the admin level. And then of course this room is my room. It does have the best view. It wasn't actually planned that way in the beginning, but when I saw it, I said I had to have this room. I thought it was pretty fair for building the base for everyone that I got that room. So it's identical and set up to the second floor as far as what's in it. The layout's a bit different to have more open space in the room itself. And of course it has plumbing up here as well, so you come out of your room and you get a drink of water and then move on. I did my best to hide plumbing in the base, as you'll see in the warehouse in a moment. That's it for the barracks. Now we're going into the warehouse. These large safes here have 1,000 slots each. Each one is labeled for something different. And there's, if required, there are folders that sort everything inside. This is one of the water taps inside the warehouse. It's pretty well hidden, not quite though. This one I did a better job on over here. You can barely see the water coming through the wall. And if I look right here, I can drink water from it, even though it doesn't even come through the wall. Just that tiny bit. Alright, so back in the back here we have weapon storage lockers for each type of weapon, and also ammunition crates for those weapon lockers. These up front are for melee weapons, that's why they don't have ammunition crates. So you look left and you can see the barracks entrance, and you look right and that's the refinery entrance. Alright, inside here, this door right here is actually it was going to be a wall. I was going to remove it. The reason it's there is because I was using it as a building storage for materials. But I didn't bother to put a wall there since I'm wiping the server today anyway. The Fiomias in this room, I just put them in here and built around them. Next, I set up this mod. It's I don't remember who made it, but it's pretty awesome. The thatch processor, you put thatch in it, of course, and it distributes it automatically to the auto compost bin. Then the auto compost bin takes the feces from the Fiomia after they defecate all over the floor in here. It must smell wonderful in here. And it makes fertilizer. Once the fertilizer is made, then it automatically distributes it to the fertilizer silos. And last time I checked, there was about 200 fertilizer already made, and it's only been a few days since I set this up. Across the hall, we have the dehydration facility. Bunch of preserving bins. I am thinking about adding a mod called Meat Dehydrator to the new server because it adds the industrial grill makes cooking meat a lot faster. Well, the meat dehydrator, it has the same model as the industrial grill, but it makes cooking jerky faster. So that's something that I'm considering. So in here's the greenhouse. It was pretty tricky getting this particular setup with the pipes. I had to build the pipes up and then remove part of the pipes, and they floated in the air, and then I built down from them. It was fun though. 4 narcoberry plots, 4 stemberry plots, and 2 of each advanced crop. It's not a very large greenhouse. If I really wanted to just take over the pharmaceutical industry on the server, I guess I would probably make this either multiple stories or just make it larger, which is very scalable, as you can see. Wouldn't be very hard to just knock out this wall and make more plots, or on the other end as well. That's it for the greenhouse though. It is very green. When I was talking about the hidden piping or plumbing, so the plumbing for the industrial cookers goes through these walls right here, and you'll see that in a moment. Goes through the floor and then hidden by the wall. Let me go upstairs. Delayed jump there. So you see the industrial grills, and you have some crafting stations. This floor is electrically wired for the entire room. It does power the floor above and the floor below as well. These industrial grinders are part of a mod that is amazing. The industrial version of the mortar and pestle. The chemistry table did just come out, which basically does the same thing, but the industrial grinder is probably still going to be better, at least until they fix the chemistry table. There were some issues with it. So the smithies, other general crafting stations, some special crafting stations. This is where those behemoth electric fences are made. The glass metal, the stuff that looks like glass, is actually metal tier, so it has a strength of metal, but it looks so much better. And these fabricators here are part of another mod that they run on electricity instead of running off gasoline, and they are silent. They make no noise. Also, they're a little bit smaller. in the center here. So we have different things in here. Some raw meat and narco berries for making narcotics when we need it. Also, you know, other things are labeled: cooked meat, cooked prime meat. Like I said, it is just general storage. All the really good stuff is going to be up on the admin level, so we know people can be trusted with it. So normally, most unfertilized carnivore and herbivore eggs will be here, but the really valuable ones like the Rex and Quetzal eggs, which are used for Rex eggs are used for Quetzal kibble, or they're used for Rex kibble, but you use Rex kibble to tame Quetzals, and then Quetzals are used for Quetzal kibble to tame the mosasauruses. So anyone that's watching this that already knew that, I'm not trying to throw knowledge on you. I'm really making this mod for my little brother who wanted to see the base before I deleted it. In each corner of the room, there's also a generator in each corner. The way the room is laid out, you'd actually, to cut power, of course you could destroy the cables, but to completely cut any power to the room, you would need to destroy all 4 generators. That's it for the second floor. On the third floor, this is the admin level of the warehouse. These crafting stations here are part of a mod called the Research and Development mod. A normal set of flak armor gives you 500 armor. With this mod, you can research using fiber and making previous tiers of the armor. So for instance, if you wanted to, it says here 10 fiber per research paper, and then you need, a lot of research paper per tier of thing you want to research. So if you wanted to make a ramshackle blueprint for a chitin armor, and this for the chest piece, in this case, you would need 2 regular primitive chitin chest pieces plus research paper plus charcoal, and then hide as well. And then it takes some time to research as well. And then of course it gets much more expensive as you progress, because the things get more expensive to make and so on. Around the outside you have a bunch of safes. It would take a lot of resources to raid the base completely because everything is vaulted. So the really good stuff that we have, say the Mastercraft flak armor that I can craft with my blueprints, and those blueprints themselves would be inside one of these storage containers, one of these vaults. So if you wanted to get everything, first you'd have to break through the outside of the base, then you'd have to get into this room. So without inside knowledge, you wouldn't really know where this is. I'm not worried about showing it now because this base will be gone completely today. So they would have to get through the outside of the base to this room and then break through each door and safe to get everything inside. So it would be a very expensive task. In here you have, and across the hall, let me open both rooms. So these are the industrial freezer storage rooms. So each freezer, as you can see, it has 80 slots per freezer, and it increases the spoil time so significantly that most items in the game will not spoil at all. Crops are an exception to this because they have such a short base spoil time, but if you look, most 2 days for one crop to spoil, and up to 38 days. If something has just spoiled, it takes almost 40 plus days to spoil for just one per stack. So those are all labeled, and of course this is the really good room where we keep all of the high-end Bronto and Ankelo, and we don't have any Doed eggs right now. We do have several Rex eggs, also a bunch of Quetzal eggs. That's pretty much it for the third level of the warehouse. Next we're going to move on to the second and third levels of the creature pens. So the creature pen again is the black side, so no other markings here. That means it's the creature pen. This brings us right up to the second story. Up here you'll find Argentavises, Pteranodons, and over here in the corner they were covered up. there are a bunch of dimorphodons. So a bunch of dimorphodons there. Oh, a little more tidbit, a little more information here. So the second floor is so large because originally it was going to be the Quetzal only floor. We knew that we wanted to have a bunch of Quetzals, so it was going to be for them, but I decided that I wanted to put them on the third floor to help me restrict access to the Quetzal pin. Originally, Quetzals were going to be admin only, and to do that, they needed to be on the highest floor so people could not stop between floors to get there. So next, if we go down, we can go on this other elevator over here, which goes straight up to the third floor, and that is where the Quetzal pin is. One of our members is exclusively interested in Quetzal breeding, as you can tell. All of the Quetzals here are very high level, except for Oedipus, apparently. There are a couple under 170 or so, but many of them are 200 plus, and some of those low level ones have a bunch of levels that we just haven't leveled. So we definitely had some Quetzals bred there. And the future, just for future reference, if you're planning on making a Quetzal pin, it looks like it's 8. The walls are 8 high here. I recommend doing 9 or 10 walls high for a Quetzal pin because when you're flying over a Quetzal, while you're mounted on one, they look up at you, and with this current height in here, sometimes you get stuck on them. So I guess you would say that was a design flaw that I didn't really think about at the time. Alright, so the last place we want to go to conclude the tour is up to the command tower. Command tower is where we would defend the base from, first of all, and also there were other functions. It was going to house many generators that would power a column, well, several columns around the outside of the command tower would be the main defense for the base. In the form of turrets. There would be also defense towers along the exterior of the base, along the fences that would come up and have several turrets each, and they would be placed all the way around the base. So it would have taken quite a bit of resources to do that. That was the next part of the plan, but since we decided to wipe, I was unable to finish that. So the first part of this command tower here is just the entry level, where you get a good view. But really, it's not. We want to be higher than that. I just made this level because the elevators were here. Alright, so the second level is the defense deck. Outside you see minigun turrets, and there are windows, of course, for opening and sniping out of. You also have corners that you can rotate between shooting angles. So you can shoot this way, or you can go over here and shoot this way. Each side has 2 minigun turrets, and those are mainly for air defense against pteranodons and Argentavises, and Quetzals to an extent, but the best defense against a Quetzal is actually just going to be to bring your own Quetzal out with a minigun on it and shoot it down. There were going to be turrets along the top here for rocket defense to shoot down incoming rockets, and also underneath would be more all the way down the column of the command tower that we saw in the beginning of the video would be turrets all the way around the outside of it, because the nexus which the command tower is built on is actually, that is where you change between levels of the base, so it's a very important place. I did make a joke with someone about adding the Game of Thrones mod only because it adds the Iron Throne, and I just thought it was very Emperor Palpatine of me, or Star Warsy of me, to put the Iron Throne right here. there's not a mod that I'm aware of that adds Emperor Palpatine's throne, but that would be even better. But I just thought I would put it there, but I never did it. So this is the observation deck, the final floor of the command tower, and it's just, you know, directing people where to go from up here. So I would be up here, maybe another admin. You know, if the tribe was fully staffed and online and we were being raided, this is where we would defend from. Well, this is where we'd issue orders from, my admins and I. And if we were under a real attack, of course, we'd most likely be outside on the defense deck, or on battle quetzals or some other kind of mount. But now that we've seen the command tower, it's that's pretty much it for the base. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and maybe if you view this video and you're not a friend of mine already, maybe it'll encourage you to come play on the server and be a part of a fair playing experience. It is the ARC Primetime server. So thank you all for watching.